Welcome to the Strange History Podcast, where we talk about the weird and the wonderful and sometimes not so wonderful history that has shaped our world into who we are today. Let's dive right into it today. We can thank all the people later who we need to thank. I'm excited about this episode. Actually, this whole season 2 is based around science, space, and everything to do with rocks, plants, flowers, aliens, Bigfoots, and other things that fall into the science category. Many people do not know this about me, but I was a science major in my college days. How I got into podcasting is another strange mystery maybe we cover in another episode. This episode hits the science category for me because it's geology, which is all about rocks. Okay, don't judge me, but there's some pretty fascinating rocks in the world that hold much history. We start today with the Rosetta Stone. Many people know of Rosetta Stone as being a place to learn a new language, but what the Rosetta Stone actually is likely played into this company picking their name. The Rosetta Stone is a granite slab that's 3 foot 9 inches by 2 foot 4 inches by 11 inches that was discovered in 1799 by a French soldier during Napoleon's campaign in Egypt. The stone is inscribed with a decree issued in 196 BC by King, I'm terrible with these names, people, Ptolemy V, in 3 scripts: Greek, which is the official language of their rulers, and the common language of the Mediterranean world at this time. It's also written in Egyptian hieroglyphics, which is an ancient Egyptian script used by Egyptian kings and priests for formal use, and the Demotic script, which is an ancient Egypt script used for everyday writing. At the time of its discovery, the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic script was still undeciphered, and the Rosetta Stone was considered a key to unlocking the secrets of this ancient language. In 1801, the stone was surrendered to the British as a result of their victory over the French in Egypt. Scholars in Europe began working to decipher the hieroglyphics on the stone, but progress was slow. It wasn't until 1822 when French scholar Jean-Francois Champollion made a breakthrough that the hieroglyphic script was finally deciphered. Champollion realized that the hieroglyphics on the Rosetta Stone were phonetic, meaning they represent sounds rather than just symbols or pictures. He used the Greek text on the stone, which he could read, to identify the phonetic values of some of the hieroglyphic symbols. This allowed him to decipher other hieroglyphic texts, opening up a wealth of knowledge about ancient Egypt. But what does the stone actually say? Well, it's a decree that says the priest of a temple in Memphis supports the reign of a 13-year-old Ptolemy V on the first anniversary of his coronation. Today, the Rosetta Stone is housed in the British Museum in London, where it is one of the museum's most popular exhibits. It remains one of the most important artifacts in the study of ancient Egypt and the history of writing. Not to feel left out, America has its own Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone of America is a term used to refer to the Dighton Rock. It's a 40-ton boulder that was discovered on the Taunton River near Berkeley, Massachusetts in 1680. The boulder has the form of a slanted 6-sided block, approximately 5 feet high, 9.5 feet wide, and 11 feet long. It's a gray-brown crystalline sandstone of medium to coarse texture. The rock is covered in petroglyphs or carvings that have been the subject of debate and speculation for centuries. The petroglyphs on the Dighton Rock are believed to have been created by the Wampanoag or other indigenous people, although their exact meaning and purpose remain unclear. The carvings include various symbols and figures, including human and animal forms, as well as geometric shapes and lines. The rock was originally located on the bank of the Taunton River, but was moved to a nearby park in the 20th century to protect it from the erosion and vandalism that would happen. Today, it is a popular tourist attraction and a subject of an ongoing study and debate among archaeologists and scholars. The term Rosetta Stone of America was coined in the 19th century when scholars first began studying the petroglyphs on the rock. The comparison to the Rosetta Stone was made because, like the Rosetta Stone, the Dighton Rock was seen as a potential key to unlocking the mysteries of an ancient language and culture. However, unlike the Rosetta Stone, the petroglyphs on the Dighton Rock remain undeciphered, and their meaning and purpose continue to be the subject of much speculation. Next, we're going to talk about the Philosopher's Stone. The history of the Philosopher's Stone is a strange and fascinating one, as it has been associated with various mystical and supernatural beliefs over the centuries. During the Middle Ages, many alchemists believed that the Philosopher's Stone was not just a substance that could turn base metals into gold, but also had the power to cure diseases and grant eternal life. This belief was fueled by the fact that many alchemists claimed to to have seen or even possessed the Philosopher's Stone, although these claims were often dismissed as hoaxes or the products of fevered imagination. In addition to its association with alchemy, the Philosopher's Stone also became a popular symbol in mythology and literature in the Harry Potter series. For example, the Philosopher's Stone was depicted as a powerful object that could grant immortality and unlimited wealth. Interestingly, some historians believe the concept of the Philosopher's Stone may have originated in ancient India, where it was known as the Rasayana. According to Indian myth, the Rasayana was a substance that could grant eternal youth and life, as well as provide insight into the mysteries of the universe. Despite its mythical origins and supernatural associations, the pursuit of the Philosopher's Stone also played a significant role in the development of modern science. Many alchemists who searched for the Philosopher's Stone also made important discoveries in chemistry and other fields, laying the groundwork for scientific method, and they advanced human knowledge in numerous ways. Overall, the history of the Philosopher's Stone is a complex and fascinating one, reflecting humanity's enduring fascination with the mysteries of the universe and the pursuit of eternal life and knowledge. This next one's a little more fun than the last few here. The Blarney Stone. The Blarney Stone is a slab of limestone. The size of the stone is about 4 feet long, 1 foot wide, and is built into the castle's embattlement 83 feet up from the ground. The stone is famous for its ability to bestow the gift of eloquence on those who kiss it. The origins of the Blarney Stone are somewhat uncertain. According to one legend, the stone was a gift from Robert the Bruce of Scotland to Cormac MacCarthy, the King of Munster, in recognition of his support of the Scottish Wars of Independence in the 14th century. Another legend suggests that the stone was brought back to Ireland by the Crusaders who had obtained it in the Holy Land. Whatever its origins, the Blarney Stone has been a popular tourist attraction for centuries. Visitors to the castle climb to the top of the battlements where they're held upside down by an assistant who helps them to reach the stone and kiss it. According to tradition, those who kiss the stone will be blessed with the gift of eloquence. The legend of the Blarney Stone has been the subject of many poems and songs over the years. One popular song, The Stone Outside Dan Murphy's Door, tells the story of a man who longs to kiss the Blarney Stone, but is unable to make the journey to County Cork. Despite this, he believes that he could still receive the gift of eloquence by gifting the stone outside of a local pub. There have been reports of people falling when kissing the Blarney Stone, but such incidents are relatively rare. The Blarney Stone is located at the top of Blarney Castle in Ireland, and to kiss it, visitors must lie on their back, lean backwards over a parapet while holding onto iron bars. This can be a bit unnerving for some people, especially those who are afraid of heights or have mobility issues. To ensure the safety of visitors, there's usually attendants on hand to assist them when kissing the stone. Additionally, safety measures have been put into place to prevent accidents, such as the installation of safety rails and the use of safety harnesses for children and people with disabilities. Overall, while there have been occasional incidents of people falling when kissing the Blarney Stone, it is generally considered a safe activity. However, visitors who are uncomfortable with heights or have mobility issues may want to exercise caution and seek assistance from attendants. Today, the Blarney Stone remains one of Ireland's most popular tourist attractions, drawing visitors from around the world who come to kiss the stone and receive the gift of eloquence. Some legends of the Blarney Stone. The legend of the witch. According to this legend, a witch saved from drowning by a member of the McCarthy family put a curse on the Blarney Stone so that anyone who kissed it would receive the gift of eloquence, but at a price. The kiss would also bestow upon the kisser the witch's ability to deceive and manipulate others. The legend of Queen Elizabeth I. In the late 16th century, Cormac Teague McCarthy, the Lord of Blarney, was called upon to pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth I of England. Instead of offering his loyalty, he sent her a letter filled with compliments and flattery, but with no real substance, a characteristic of the gift of gab, which is often associated with kissing the Blarney Stone. The legend of the Three Musketeers. During the French Revolution, 3 Blarney Stone masons were hired to build a bridge across the River Seine in Paris. While working on the bridge, they found a piece of Blarney Stone and brought it to France. It is said that this stone now resides at the Louvre Museum and is a popular attraction for visitors. The legend of Winston Churchill. It is said that Winston Churchill, the British Prime Minister during World War II, kissed the Blarney Stone during a visit to Ireland. Afterward, he was able to convince the Americans to enter the war, which turned the tide of conflict in favor of allies. The legend of the swarthy witch. According to this legend, a witch cursed the Blarney Stone after she was refused a kiss by Cormac Teach McCarthy. The witch was said to have been so angry that she turned into a stone and was incorporated into the battlements of the castle. It is said that this stone can still be seen today and that has the powers to heal any ailment. The next stone we're going to talk about is the Kaaba stone. The Kaaba stone is located in Mecca. It's a large black stone and is considered one of the most sacred objects in Islam. It is believed to have been given to Abraham by the angel Gabriel and is the focus of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. Framed in silver, the black stone's nature has been a matter of much debate. It has been described as a stony meteorite, basalt stone, or a piece of natural glass and agate. The Kaaba is placed in a cube-shaped building located in the city of Mecca in present-day Saudi Arabia. It's considered the holiest site in Islam and is the destination of the annual Hajj pilgrimage, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. The history of Kaaba dates back to a time of Prophet Abraham in Christianity and Judaism, and his son Ishmael, who were instructed by God to build a house of worship in the desert of Mecca. According to Islamic tradition, the Kaaba was built by the Prophet Abraham and Ishmael, who were directed by the angel Gabriel. The Kaaba was originally an unadorned structure made of mud and stone. Over centuries, the Kaaba has been rebuilt and relocated several times. The most significant rebuilding took place in the earliest 7th century, when the Kaaba was rebuilt by the Prophet Muhammad and his followers, who removed the idols that had been placed inside the Kaaba and rededicated it to the worship of one God. Throughout its history, the Kaaba has been the focus of Islamic pilgrimage and devotion. The black stone that is embedded in one of the corners of the Kaaba is believed to have been given to the Prophet Abraham by the angel Gabriel and considered one of the most sacred objects in Islam. Muslims believe that the Kaaba represents the house of God on earth, and that by facing it during prayer, they are facing the direction of God. Today, the Kaaba remains one of the most important religious sites in the world, attracting millions of pilgrims every year during the annual Hajj pilgrimage. The site is surrounded by the Great Mosque of Mecca, which can accommodate over 2 million worshippers during the Hajj. The next rock we're going to talk about is the Stone of Scone. The Stone of Scone, also known as the Stone of Destiny, is a black sandstone that has been used in the coronation ceremonies of Scottish monarchs for centuries. The stone is believed to have been brought to Scotland from Ireland in the 9th or the 10th century and was originally kept in Scone Abbey, which was the traditional site of the Scottish coronation ceremonies. The Stone of Scone played a significant role in Scottish history. According to legend, the stone was used as a pillow by the biblical figure Jacob when he had a vision of a ladder reaching to heaven. It was also believed to have been used as the coronation stone of the ancient kings of Ireland and Scotland. In 1296, the English king Edward I invaded Scotland and took the Stone of Scone to Westminster Abbey in London, where it was placed beneath the coronation chair. It remained there for over 700 years and was used in the coronation ceremonies of English monarchs. In 1950, a group of Scottish nationalists stole the Stone of Scone from Westminster Abbey and took it back to Scotland. The stone was eventually recovered and returned to Westminster Abbey, but in 1996, the British government agreed to return the Stone of Scone to Scotland as a symbol of its commitment to devolution. Today, the Stone of Scone is kept in Edinburgh Castle in Scotland and is still used in the coronation ceremonies of the British monarchs when they visit Scotland. It is also on display for public viewing at the castle and is a popular tourist attraction. The Stone of Scone was actually just moved back to the Abbey, where it was used in the recent coronation ceremony of King Charles III. It is the first coronation in 70 years. That wraps up things about rocks, stones, and such. Let's talk a little bit, and we're going to throw in a little fun here, a few strange news stories from the 1800s. While I was researching stones, I ran across these, and they were too good not to mention. In 1874, a man in California claimed to have captured a live mermaid. He displayed the creature in a tank of water and charged admission for people to come and see it. The mermaid turned out to be a monkey that had been shaved and had its teeth removed, so it was a hoax. In 1896, a woman in New York City claimed to have given birth to 17 rabbits. She said that the rabbits had come out of her body one at a time, and she had no idea how it happened. It turned out to be a hoax, and the woman was charged with fraud. They actually kept her in a jail cell for a period of time. She didn't give birth to any rabbits, and then they caught somebody coming in with a rabbit so she could pretend to give birth to it, and that's how they caught her. In 1835, a group of people in New Jersey reported seeing a strange creature in the woods. They described it as having a body of a horse, the head of a deer, and wings like a bat. The creature became known as the Jersey Devil, and sightings of it continued on for many years until today. In 1859, a man in England claimed to have discovered a group of tiny people living in a small box. He said that they were only a few inches tall and had their own language and culture. The man exhibited the tiny people at fairs and carnivals, but was eventually revealed to be a hoax. In 1884, a group of people in Kentucky claimed to have seen a giant serpent in the woods. They described it as being over 100 feet long and as thick as a tree trunk. The creature became known as the Kentucky giant snake, but no one was ever able to provide any solid evidence of its existence. In 1874, the New York Times reported on a man who claimed to have invented a machine that could turn dirt into gold. The man's name was Dr. John Wesley Hyatt, and he had supposedly discovered a way to use vegetable fibers to make gold. However, when the Times investigated the story, they found out that Hyatt was a known con artist and that his machine was a fraud. In 1890, the New York World reported on a woman who had apparently been cured of deafness by having a chicken head sewn into her own head. The woman who lived in Alabama claimed that a local doctor had performed the procedure and that she could now hear perfectly. The story was widely reported in the press, but was later revealed to be a hoax. In 1869, the Chicago Tribune reported on a man who had apparently been cured of alcoholism by drinking a pint of his own urine every day. The man, whose name was not given, claimed that he had been an alcoholic for 10 years before he started his urine cure. The Tribune noted that the man appeared to be in good health and he had not had a drink in 6 months. In 1888, the San Francisco Chronicle reported on a man who claimed to have discovered a race of giants living in the mountains of California. The man, who was not named, said the giants were over 12 feet tall and had hair that reached down to their knees. The story was widely reported in the press, but no evidence of the giants have ever been found, unless you talk about Bigfoot, but that's a whole nother story. In 1872, the Boston Globe reported of a man who had apparently been cured of baldness by rubbing his head with raw onions. The man, whose name was not given, claimed that he had been completely bald for several years before starting the onion treatment. The Globe noted that the man's hair had grown back and it was thick and strong. In 1840, a brewery in London suffered a bizarre incident. One of its beer vats burst, causing a tidal wave of beer to flood the streets. The accident resulted in the deaths of several people who were swept away by the wave. In 1849, a woman named Mary Bateman was executed for fraud in England. Bateman had convinced a wealthy couple she had supernatural powers and could cure their illnesses. She even gave them potions that made them sicker that convinced them that they were under a curse that she can only break. In 1890, a man in France named Jean-Baptiste Trotman was executed for the murder of a family of 8. Trotman had killed the family in order to steal their money and jewels. However, what made the case particularly strange was that the Trotman had cut up the bodies of his victim and scattered the remains in different locations. In 1896, a man named Joshua Slocum set sail from Boston, Massachusetts in a small sloop named the Spray. Slocum sailed around the world completely in 3 years. The journey was a remarkable achievement. But what made it even stranger was that Slocum wrote a book about his journey that became a bestseller and made him famous. This has been another episode of Strange History. If you like this podcast, please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to your favorite podcasts these days. This episode has been produced by Dead to Me Productions, and I, your host, Amy Domestico, had very much fun making this one. Thanks, Darkcast Network, and thank you, Spreaker, for being the most amazing podcast host ever. Peace out.